Long before European explorers set foot in West Africa, a legend was already being sung by griots, the storytellers of the Mande people. They spoke of a boy who couldn't walk, a boy mocked by his people, exiled from his home, yet destined by prophecy to build one of the greatest empires in African history. His name was Sundiata Keita, founder of the Mali Empire, a kingdom so vast and wealthy that gold dust was said to flow through its marketplaces. But Sundiata's story is not one of easy triumph. It's a story of humiliation, exile, struggle, and destiny. And to understand how he rose, we must go back to where it all began, Niani, in the 13th century. In the small Mandinka kingdom of Niani, ruled by King Nare Maham Kanate, a strange prophecy shook the court. A hunter arrived, claiming visions from the spirits. He told the king, if you marry a woman who walks with a limp, she will bear you a son, and that son will become a mighty ruler, greater than all before him. The king listened, half in disbelief, until he met Sigolin Kond, a quiet, plain-looking woman from the land of dew. She had a hunchback, but a fierce spirit and sharp mind. The king married her, fulfilling the prophecy. Soon after, Sundiata was born. But when the child grew, the palace saw no greatness, only weakness. At 3 years old, he still couldn't walk. At 7, his legs were thin as reeds. The other wives mocked Sigolin. Her co-wife, Sosoma Berete, whispered that she'd brought a curse to the royal house. How could a crippled child become a king? For years, Sigolin endured humiliation, until one day, Sosoma insulted her in front of the court, saying, a cripple cannot be king, his mother should learn to crawl beside him. That night, Sigolin wept. Her son, seeing her pain, asked quietly, Mother, please bring me an iron staff. The servants laughed, but Sigolin obeyed. She placed the staff in his trembling hands. Sundiata pressed it into the earth, his muscles quivering, his arms shaking, and with a cry that echoed through the palace walls, he rose. He stood tall for the first time. The laughter stopped, and with that step, the prophecy began to unfold. From that day forward, he was no longer called the crippled boy, but Sundiata, the lion whose roar was yet to be heard. Years later, when his father died, Sasuma's son, Dankaran Tuman, seized the throne. Fearing the prophecy, Sosoma plotted to kill Sundiata. But Sigolin fled with her children, beginning a long exile that would last more than a decade. They wandered from one kingdom to another, from Ouagadougou to Mema, seeking refuge. It was during these years that Sundiata transformed from a boy into a strategist, diplomat, and warrior. He learned the art of war under King Mansa Musa of Mema, studying not just battle, but leadership. He observed how kingdoms rose, and how they fell. He united men through respect, not fear. He led not as a prince entitled to power, but as one who had earned it through survival. By the time word reached him that Mali had fallen under invasion, Sundiata was ready. In Sundiata's absence, a new terror had risen. Sumanguru Kante, the king of the Soso, a ruthless warlord rumored to possess dark magic, had conquered Niani and much of the Mandinka land. He was said to wear the skulls of his enemies as ornaments, and rule through fear, not law. The Mandinka elders, now broken and desperate, sent messengers to Mema. Come home, Sundiata, only you can unite us. When the messengers arrived, Sundiata was no longer the boy they remembered. He was a commander with loyal warriors, trained and ready. He gathered the scattered Mandinka chiefs, forged alliances through marriage and oath, and in 1235 led a united army back into Mali. At the Battle of Karina, Sundiata faced Sumanguru himself. The griots say Sumanguru fought with invisible powers, but Sundiata, armed with wisdom and courage, used a special arrow said to have been forged by the blacksmiths of Mema. When the arrow struck, Sumanguru vanished, defeated not just by force, but by destiny. With Sumanguru gone, Sundiata was crowned Mansa, the emperor of a new Mali. But instead of ruling as a tyrant, he ruled as a builder. He convened the Karukan Fuga, one of the earliest constitutional assemblies in African history, where the Mandinka Charter was created, establishing laws of justice, freedom, and respect. He appointed governors over provinces, built trade routes linking the Sahara to the Atlantic, and made Niani the beating heart of a golden empire. Under Sundiata's system, wealth was shared, families were protected, and justice came before bloodline. The Mali Empire would endure for centuries, later giving rise to rulers like Mansa Musa, whose wealth would astonish the world. But the foundation, the dream, began with the boy who once couldn't walk. Sundiata died around 1255, but his story was never buried. Across West Africa, griots still recite the epic of Sundiata, not just as history, but as heritage. A story of resilience, leadership, and destiny. When Disney created The Lion King, many African historians noted the uncanny parallels: the exiled prince, the return, the redemption, the roar. But centuries before Simba, there was Sundiata, the true Lion King of Africa.